traders come in and they're like, hey, oh man, it would be great to make money by pushing a button at my desk every day. It's a dream. So that sounds so wonderful. And so they come in and they start buy a strategy and they start implementing it with a demo fake account, and they do well enough to say, I want to use real money. And they dump in another 5-10 grand into real money into a real account. Before they know it, they lose all that money. So what do? They say, the strategy is flawed. That is a terrible strategy. I can't believe I wasted money on that strategy. So they buy another strategy. Guess what? Same exact thing happens. They go, another flawed strategy. Let me go buy another strategy. And lo and behold, they're just chasing strategy after strategy after strategy. So it's typically not the strategy itself. It's typically the person executing the strategy. Now, here's the part that a lot of traders have a hard time believing unless they're recording their sessions. Because when you replay what you were doing to yourself, this becomes very believable. And that is the decisions that you are making with fake money versus the decisions you're making with real money are not the same. And the reason that happens is definitely emotions. So the real question would be, what do you do to overcome that? Just in the last couple of days, talking with some of our members, one of them, actually two of them, told me the same thing where they said, I feel like I'm having trouble holding on to a trade. So they analyze the chart correctly. They look at an entry correctly. They enter at the perfect time. And then as soon as the market starts to go the other way, because it will, and instead of holding it, they get scared and they jump out. And then it goes the way they wanted to go in the first place. And then they're frustrated. And so then now there's more emotion. And I guess the key in the way that this ties in to what we're going to talk about is that they go in with either no plan at all or just an idea of a plan.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement.
Well, welcome everybody to the Prosperity U podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something very key. One of the most essential things that you can possibly have if you're a trader, if you're an aspiring trader or a current trader, and that is how to stop jumping between strategies and secure a consistent result with one easy to follow plan, regardless of what goes on in the market. Okay. So how do you do that? Because there's this phenomenon. I've named it strategy chasing. I don't know if anyone else calls it that, but that's what I call it. It's where traders come in and they're like, hey, oh man, it would be great to make money by pushing a button at my desk every day. That's a dream. That's so great. Plus, it's not a little bit of money. It's like a lot of bit of money, right? So that sounds so wonderful. And so they come in and they start buy a strategy. Let's say the strategy is a couple $1,000, whatever it is. And they start implementing it with a demo fake account, and they do well enough to say, I want to use real money. And they dump in another 5-10 grand into real money into a real account. Before they know it, they lose all that money. So what do? They say, the strategy is flawed. That is a terrible strategy. I can't believe I wasted money on that strategy. So they buy another strategy. Guess what? Same exact thing happens. They go, another flawed strategy. Let me go buy another strategy. And lo and behold, they're just chasing strategy after strategy after strategy. And so at the end of the day, there's one common denominator in that example story, and that is the trader, right? It's yeah. So it's typically not the strategy itself. It's typically the person executing the strategy. Now, does that mean that person just sucks at trading and they're just blowing all this strategy stuff? No, they're not doing it fully consciously.
I think one a first question to answer or to dive into is that you mentioned that they're on demo and doing pretty well enough to be confident to put some substantial money, and we've seen it happen so many times, but put good amount of money into a live account, a real one, where it actually matters, and then they just tank. What do you think's the delineation between that? Like what's causing the demo to be great and the live to not be so good?
Okay. So there's a short answer and a long answer to this. um, so I would say the short answer is emotion. Now, here's the part that a lot of traders have a hard time believing unless they're recording their sessions. Okay. Because when you replay what you were doing to yourself, this becomes very believable. And that is the decisions that you are making with fake money versus the decisions you're making with real money are not the same. And a lot of traders, they don't even realize it. It's like this weird phenomenon where unless you're recording, like I said, if you're recording your trades, now you'll start to see and you'll be like, wait a minute, why was I looking at that one? What was going through my mind there? Because you don't even realize it until you review it. And the key and the reason that that happens is definitely emotions. So the real question would be, what do you do to overcome that?
So what you're saying is that the strategy was working for them, but then when they transitioned to a live account, that's where they stopped following the strategy.
Exactly.
They adopted a way to follow their emotions instead. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, we actually have some key examples actually just in the last couple of days talking with some of our members. Um, one of them, actually two of them in the last couple of days told me the same thing where they said, I feel like I'm having trouble holding on to a trade. So they analyze the chart correctly. They look at an entry correctly. They enter at the perfect time. And then as soon as the market starts to go the other way, because it will, right? Sometimes that'll happen. It goes the other way and then it goes the way that you want it to go. And instead of holding it like they're supposed to, there's a certain threshold that they can hold it with. They get scared and they jump out. And then it goes the way they wanted to go in the first place. And then they're frustrated. And so then now there's more emotion involved. And now they're like, well, maybe I can catch on while it's going up. But now their entry is late. Now it does actually reverse. And they end up with another loss and more frustration. And so it's like it's just a constant thing. Really, I guess the key and the way that this ties in to what we're going to talk about is that they go in with either no plan at all, which is not usually the case. Usually they have an idea of a plan, but either no plan or just an idea of a plan, like a pretty crappy plan. Okay, not something fantastic that's going to keep them on the straight and narrow in their trades. And so
It kind of reminds me of, like, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt. He was saying that the best thing to do in any situation is the right thing. The second best thing to do in any situation is the wrong thing. And the worst thing to do in any situation is nothing, right? And that's kind of the same concept here, is like the best way to go about learning to trade and then being a trader is to have the right plan, right? The second or the second best thing to do is to have the wrong one that you can learn from. The worst thing you need to do is have nothing, and there's no ebb and flow of learning and growth from it. It's just blah. I'm gonna go click some buttons, and I don't know.
Exactly.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's totally accurate for sure. So today we want to kind of change all that. Now, for those of you that are listening in that are already members with us, you already have more access than what we're going to share today, but it'll still be a nice review. For those of you that are not members with us, this could actually completely change your trading wherever you're trading from right now. Okay, so, and that is, we're going to talk about having a trading plan. Now, people call a trading plan, sometimes they just say strategy. Let me tell you the problem with strategy, if that's all you're relying on. The problem is there are certain situations in the market that the strategy doesn't address. Give you an example. News. A news event happens at a certain point in the market, and it causes a big old spike one way or the other, and you don't know what to do in those scenarios, right? Other than lose money, right? So it's tough. Strategies don't talk about that. Typically, what most strategies talk about is where do you enter, where do you exit? That's all they talk about. They don't talk about in between. They don't talk about before that entry and how to kind of anticipate it. Right? They don't talk about after and how do you review your own trades and hold yourself accountable. There's a lot missing when you talk about like a strategy as a plan. The strategy is a part. It's a part of the plan. And so what I actually have like a little bit of an outline um, for a trading plan that we can go over as soon as I pull it up. I thought I had it up. I apologize. That was not it. I thought it was this tab. It's not. So give me a sec.
Right on. What do you think are the most important elements of a trading plan? Because there's probably some give and take per person, per strategy, right? You can add into it, kind of like a business plan, right? There's not just one type of business plan to go and sell Scentsy candles. I don't know. It's the first thing that popped into my mind for some reason. You can adjust and make adjustments, but there's got to be something that's absolutely core, the core elements that you have to have in consideration. What do you think those are?
So I would say the one that's missing, well, okay, there's a lot of them. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find this thing and it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
I'll go look. I think I know where it is. You can chit chat.
Basically there needs to be one thing that's always missing is what is the basics of your plan for trading? What times are you going to trade? What days are you going to trade? Um, what's your lot size going to be? What's your goal in terms of pips? All of those things, even before we talk about the actual trading, right? I think this might be it.
I just found it for you. I'm sending it over.
Oh, thank goodness, because that was not it. I just found.
Prosperity movement. There you go. You got it.
Where'd you send it to?
Here in Zoom.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you guys have it.
No, I just sent it to you. Direct message.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Okay. Fancy. Anyway, so kind of those general things before you even sit down and think about a strategy. And then there's like different parts of a strategy itself. There is the kind of the forecasting bit, there's the entry, there's what do you do in between an entry and a like a take profit, for example. We call that in our community, we call it trade management. What do you do in between there? How do you manage that trade effectively? And then, of course, when you're done trading for the day, do you just close the laptop, walk away? No. If you look at anyone that's trying to build a skill set of any kind of professional sport, athlete, person, or musician, or anything, marketing, sales, okay? Anytime you finish the task itself, what do? They review what they did. What did they do good? What did they do not so good? What might they do differently? What worked? What didn't? What would you change? Right?
That seems really simple, Zach. How is that going to change my trading?
It's
Guys, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. It really does. And so,
right.
but with as simple as it is, there's still quite a few, critical pieces that a lot of people just overlook. And it's as simple as it is, it's simple to overlook sometimes, right?
Exactly.
And what we're trying to really point out is that there's not a lot of rocket science involved with this, but there are a certain number of pieces that are needed for it to really function with the way that people typically want it to, right? So just kind of want to call it out there is that yes, it's very simple and it sounds like kind of, I don't know, too simple to be real or too simple to be true kind of thing. It's like go try it. Go start tracking your trades and having this plan, right? I mean, we're going to continue in this episode to keep talking about all these little parts, but go implement it.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, funny thing, we've had this idea of reviewing your trades and stuff. We've had it from the pretty much from the get-go of our company because we found that was something that was missing in the industry as a whole. And many people knew about it but weren't even doing it until what was it a month or two ago. We kind of we kind of gave out a little punishment if they didn't do it. If they didn't do it, now they couldn't get on some of the group sessions that we were hosting, right? Like kind of holding them more accountable to actually doing this thing. I can't tell you how many angry messages I got People were upset about that, and I get it. And I was able to talk to them, and I'm totally open to complaints. I'm happy to hear it, right? And I was like, you know what, just try it. Just give it a shot. If it doesn't help you at all, we can talk about it then. Every single one of them. Oh my gosh, this is a game changer. I'm so glad you made us do this. Like every single one of them. So anyway,
It's
just
funny when you put a little bit of salt and pepper of accountability on everything, you know.
yeah.
It's so simple, it's so easy, but I mean we talked about accountability a few weeks ago, and the weird thing about it is that it oftentimes it feels bad to be held accountable. It doesn't necessarily feel good. I think our default nature is to be, you know, as low level energy as possible, like conserve your energy. And
Yeah.
so the holding ourselves accountable and having to expend and do more, it's like, oh, I want to do that, you know, and then we're also all adults as well. And so there's a certain level of like freedom that feels like it's being taken away from you. It's like that's not the case. I think that there's a mutual desire within the membership and us for them to get the actual results that they're wanting and trying to get, right? And
Yeah.
we're like, well, here's the steps, and here's all of the things that we know historically from data, not opinions, but data on what it works. And this is one of those things is not only having your trading plan, not only holding yourself accountable, but having other people to hold you accountable as well. You know, I think people get it confused that trading is always a solo venture. Now, there's plenty of times that you're by yourself, but I really think that the community aspect and that accountability is a very simple and yet very potent and powerful predictor of somebody's success, right?
Yeah.
And so we're not outlining things that we think might work. We're
Right.
showing you what has historically been really, really valuable to most people. And
Yeah.
sure, there's no one size fits all solution in all of this. That's why it's customizable and it's adaptable. Like you said, Zach, if it doesn't work for you or doesn't help you, well, let's talk about it then. But at least try it out. We'll adapt and customize. And so far, we haven't needed to do that. So
Right.
it's
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. So let me show you guys a sample trading. We'll call it a trading plan outline, and you guys will get access to this. We'll show you how. But first, I'm just going to share my screen and then walk you through this a little bit, and then I'll tell you about one guy individual specifically who started implementing this, and some of the results he's gotten this week compared to usual. So first, let me get my Zoom all situated here properly. So basically, it starts out with what's your goal? You know, how many pips and what time frame? I'll just tell you what we typically start out by recommending, which is 10 pips an hour. That is a significantly reasonable goal. I have yet to trade and not have that be possible. There have been some times where I didn't feel up to trading and I didn't get it because I didn't trade. But the opportunity is there following a strategy. 10 pips an hour or whatever it is for you. Maybe it's 5 pips, maybe it's 20 pips, whatever
in
it is for you.
previous episodes, we've talked about how 10 pips is very much so a full-time income.
Yeah.
Like if you can get 10 pips an hour, you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
You can get better. Okay. You can adapt and change, right? But 10 pips an hour, oh my gosh, that's people underestimate the power of that compounding interest.
As James says, you're laughing your socks off. So how? So you would just list here what strategy you're using. Just generally speaking, what strategy you're using. In this case, for the example, strategy A.
Do you
When?
describe it at all there, or are you just giving the name?
It depends on if you need the description. So especially if you've tweaked a strategy. So for example, we have a strategy in our community called T2B2. Some people have tweaked it. They prefer a different kind of MACD. So they would put, T2B2 strategy with a faster MACD or a standard MACD or whatever. So that you can describe it a little bit there. Yeah.
Cool, but not too much detail. We'll do the rest of that later, right?
Exactly. When are you trading? I've got mine blocked off on the calendar every day that I'm planning on trading. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe you don't trade the 5 days. Maybe you do 3. James trades Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's up to you. And then what are you trading? what currency pair, what index are you trading? What commodity are you trading? What are you trading?
Are you
Commit
allowed to
to
have more than one right here?
if you're brand new, no.
Ah, so we got to
If
be focused, huh?
yes,
All right.
yes, different markets behave differently. So if you're trying to learn how to trade in multiple markets, you're going to be confused because you're going to say, well, last time over here it did this, but this one did something totally different, and you're going to confuse yourself.
Well, there's
Okay,
over
so
10,000 different instruments that someone could trade. How on earth do they find out which one to start with and focus on?
well, couple things. One is the when actually plays a big role in that. So if you're trading, for example, in the evening, maybe something like the NAS 100, the Nasdaq 100, which is a US type thing, and it flows and goes primarily with like the New York trading session. So if you're trading in the evening, New York is closed. This particular market would be very slow. Is it still open? Yes, but it's slow. Very slow to the point where you're not going to really get the 10 pips an hour. So if you're doing evening, you might pick something foreign. Maybe you would do like the Japanese yen, like US dollar Japanese yen currency pair is a common one that people do in the evening. Maybe the NAS during the day is just too slow for you, even with the NAS, and so you want to do something faster. So you pick something like the Dow, which is the US 30. So your when can oftentimes help you choose your what.
Yeah. But we also have a list for our members that of
We do.
most common things and reasons to and for pros and cons of each. Like
Yeah.
Zach's saying, is it the right time? Hmm.
My favorite to start is definitely NAS 100.
Yeah.
100%.
I think most
It's a
people do.
good pace. It's a good paced market. So then we're not even talking about entries yet. Entries are down here. We're talking about what do you do before you start trading? You sit down, you're ready to trade. What's your process? So here's an example. Evaluate my emotions. Check my challenges at the door. When you're sitting down to trade, you are focused. There's not an emotional situation right now. Look at the news during the times that you have set to trade. Okay. And there's a couple of resources for that, by the way. So there's Forex Factory and there's something called in investing.com. So Forex Factory, we can see these different colored folders. So I can see at 7:30 a.m. my time, we had a red and an orange folder. That red is really, really heavy news. It's going to influence the market a lot. Orange is medium, yellow is almost nothing. Okay. We could also go to
Well,
this one.
what did we see the attempted assassination of Trump in there?
No, that would have been fun. That would have been messed up, actually. It shows up pre-assassination. um, investing.com, it's the same structure. Instead of folder colors, they're stars. 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars. Okay. So check the news. It's a good advice.
How much time should I spend on that then? Should I spend the good first hour or two doing that? Maybe 5 minutes?
It seriously takes 5 minutes. Not even.
Guys, you don't have to sit there and read every article word for word. It's looking
Oh,
for
no.
big moves, really big things, and that's it. Anything less than that is just trade.
Yeah. So you just look, what color is the folder? How many stars are there? If there's a lot, maybe I should think about not trading during that time. Read your plan out loud and slowly. It's a great idea. Just read it. Remind yourself of what is my plan today. Read the whole darn thing. And then here's another example for a starting process is sit there, don't trade for 10 minutes. Just watch the charts. It'll give you an idea of what the market's doing, how it's moving, what you're looking at, what direction it's going, generally speaking. Could be 10 minutes, could be 5 minutes, you decide, right? Now, of course, I'm not revealing our strategies here, so I have to be a little bit generic with entries and stuff, but here's an example of what my entries kind of look like. I have this must follow thing. Indicator A happens, indicator B happens, indicator C happens, enter, right? In this case, I have 6 of them listed here just as an example. I
Now, are
can't
all
really
of
give,
those literally indicators, or are you talking about events and stuff that can happen as well?
it's like what the indicator is doing.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah. Does this. It's a great addition. If all those things happen, enter.
When the stars align.
That's right.
What happens if the stars don't align, Zach?
Don't enter.
Oh, wow.
Must follow. It's that simple. And this is where people get caught up. This is why having a plan, reading it out loud is so impactful because people will be like, it's close enough. And then they get hurt. Okay. Now, are these indicators and what they do going to differ from person to person? Yes. Even with the same strategy, because someone might have a higher risk tolerance than me, someone might have a lower one than me. And so their requirements will be looser, which means they have a higher tolerance for risk, or they might be even tighter than mine, which means they have a lower tolerance for risk. They want to make sure their entry is going to get them a solid result, right? And then we get into managing a stop loss. This is where we get into how to manage the trade in general. Here's an example. This might be a little confusing if you're new to trading. It's okay. You would understand this the more you learn, okay? But in a standard trade, the stop loss is at the indicator A up here, okay, just as an example. Exceptions to that initial stop loss have to do with the chart and where is indicators C and D. Example is this. While in the trade, move the stop loss to match indicator A as it continues to move in favor of the buy or sell. So you can like literally map it out. Now, I actually showed our whole community yesterday my actual personal trading plan. Okay. And this section is beefy. I am very specific. In this situation, do this. In this situation, do that. And it is very, very, very specific. And so I think a lot of
How do I
them
know how to put all of that in there if I'm new to trading?
our help will help you.
That's kind of the point of having some coaching, right? And
I'll
having
even give
people-
you my trading plan. I have no problem doing that. And then how do you manage your take profit? Set my take profit to be double my stop loss as an example. Or when I'm in within 10 pips of my take profit, move the take profit to the next indicator A, B, or C. And then finally, after the session, once the session is complete, copy your trade log from your broker to your journal. We will talk more about the journal in the future on the podcast here. Look at the numbers and note what you can improve on in the next session. Screenshot the trades and analyze and note what you can improve on in the next session. Submit the journal and the screenshot via Prosperity Movement submit button in our hub. Okay. And then other rules. If you break one of the guidelines in this plan 2 times, stop trading for the day. You need to get your head right. Get your head on straight.
Now, are there other rules and other after the session options that people can have, or is this what you think is the end all be all?
No, this is a starting point.
Right.
The whole thing is subject to evolution and subject to the person themselves. I'll tell you what, we had one guy who was
Before we continue, I wanted to say that those rules and the trading plan itself all around, it's important to create it and to have it and to understand it, to know it, but the accountability aspect is really that missing component that a lot of people fail to do. And so putting it this way, imagine like this trading plan or these rules that you've outlined for yourself is like your constitution and your laws. And what happens when you break the laws, right? Well, you get in trouble. You either get a ticket or a fine, right? Or go to jail possibly. Lots of things can happen. And so you should do that to yourself. If you break the rule twice, then you're done trading for the day. That's you holding yourself accountable. And I promise you, if you don't do that yourself, the market will hold you accountable instead. And you breaking those rules, you're going to have your fines and such, right? So it's important to look at it that way. Like these are my laws. I'm going to follow the law. And if I don't, then I'm going to get in trouble. And either you hold yourself accountable to that or the market will.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we have one guy that I've been working with a little more closely. Like he's in some of my private sessions. Historically, his win rate on his trades is somewhere around 55%. And we've really been honing in on his entries because I feel like that was where he was struggling the most. And this last week last week on Friday, I gave him my trading plan for entries and stuff. And this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, he traded and he got 75% win rate.
Nice.
That's not saying my entries are the best entries on the planet. That's not what that's saying. What it is saying is he now has clear direction, a clear plan on when to enter and when not to enter, and he just follows it. It's amazing how powerful that simple concept can be. Write it down on the document, do what you wrote down. That's it. So we gotta wrap up here.
Yeah.
Guy says, I can vouch for the trading plan. Had some lesson days recently. Combining the trading plan along with back testing last night, I was able to see where the problem was. I achieved 80 pips today.
Nice.
Oh, forget 10 pips an hour. That's amazing. Great job, Guy.
I'm gonna take us all out for steak dinner.
That's right. Guy, you owe us a steak dinner. Oh, man.
Cool.
So go ahead. Do you want to do the...
Well, I was just going to comment that I thought that was pretty cool to, surprised you didn't say burgers. Yeah, you're right. We got to have the burgers. Inside joke here in the community. If you don't know, get in, we'll tell you. But no, I want to say that was cool to go through all of that and kind of, piece it together and show everyone and kind of ask those questions that maybe seem a little silly, but I mean, straightforward. It's a simple process. And these are simple pieces of wisdom that it doesn't need to be any more complicated than it is. But unfortunately, for most people, it is a little bit of a hassle. It's a bit of a complication for us to really, with just one set of eyes and our own eyes and our charts. It's hard to look past that and see the bigger issues that we may not be addressing ourselves. And so there's a reason why we say that you need to have a strategy. You need to have your systems in place and you need to have your support all around. And missing one of those could be completely catastrophic towards anyone's growth and success, right? And so it's not trying to be hokey and be like, hey, we're here to sell you. We're here to help you, and we're here to be that support side and help you develop your systems and strategies and such, right? And so to be able to do that and get more information, of course, you can keep watching the podcast or go listen to previous ones. But the single best way to basically get 99% of all your questions answered, get a lot of value and impact from what we have to offer for complimentary, is to be able to get our blueprint. And Zach, I don't know, do we have a new way to get it, or is it the website right now?
The website.
Still the website? So just go to prosperitymovement.online, not .com, prosperitymovement.online. And there's a chat box in the bottom right corner that you can click on and just type in blueprint, or I would like the blueprint, or, just let us know that you're interested in the blueprint. We'll be happy to give that to you. And you can get a ton of information, a lot of value, absolutely complimentary.
100%. I love it. All right, guys. Well, I can't wait to see you on the inside. And if you have questions, you can always go to that website, same spot, chat, ask us. We'd be happy to help you out. And by the way, if you do happen to book a call with us, we'll give you this little trading plan outline too when you get on the call. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Little gift for you. If you're already a member, you get a more detailed outline anyways. But
awesome.
Anyway, thanks guys. See you next week.
See you. Bye-bye.